So, Nehemiah chapter 4, today we get to learn that Nehemiah and his friends run into some problems as they're trying to rebuild this wall. So it says, verse 1, "But it came to pass that when Sanballat heard that we builded the wall, he was wroth, and took great indignation and mocked the Jews. And he spake before his brethren and the army of Samaria, and said, What do these feeble Jews? Will they fortify themselves? Will they sacrifice? Will they make an end in a day? Will they revive the stones out of the heaps of the rubbish which are burned? Now Tobiah the Ammonite was by him, and he said, Even that which they build, if a fox go up, he shall even break down their stone wall. Saying that, hey, their efforts are going to be fruitless. It's going to fall down anyways. It's not going to be built well. That wall took a long time to build, and it was thoroughly destroyed with Babylon. They're not going to, it's a fruitless effort. Why even try? Verse 4, Hear, O our God, for we are despised, and turn their reproach upon their own head, and give them for a prey in the land of captivity, and cover not their iniquity, and let not their sin be blotted out from before thee, for they have provoked thee to anger before the builders. So built we the wall, and all the wall was joined together unto the half thereof, for the people had a mind to work. Now we don't hear it delineated out, but this is probably, those three verses are a prayer of Nehemiah or somebody else saying, God, punish the people who hate us. We are doing your work. We are building the temple. We're building the wall around it to protect the temple and the people. We are doing what you have commanded us to do. Turn the folly of our enemies against themselves, basically. Verse 7, But it came to pass that when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabians and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the walls of Jerusalem were made up and that the breaches began to be stopped, then they were very wroth. So first they're like, this is stupid. They're not going to do it. It's not going to be worth anything. And then they build a wall and it works out great. So they at first ignored what was going on, basically, and just made fun of it and tried to write it all off. Now it's done, and now they're going, crap. The Jews have just basically fortified themselves. That's going to make them as an enemy harder, because we have to fight harder to win against the Jews. So this is going to give the Jews an advantage. So now they're mad. Verse 8, And they conspired all of them together to come and to fight against Jerusalem and to hinder it. So they're deciding, rather than let the whole wall be done, they're going to go down and destroy it. Basically, they're going to disrupt the whole efforts, and they're putting action behind their words. So a change of thought in their mind from what they used to be. They used to think it's a fruitless effort. They'll never make this work. But now once they proved they could, that turned into a threat opportunity. So they had to be like, okay, this is going to change the economics of the area, because we can't pick on the Jews. We can't go steal from them and take stuff because of this. We can't. They are going to be more formidable because of this. So let's go stop them, basically. Verse 8, Nevertheless, we made our prayer unto our God, and set a watch against them day and night because of them. And Judah said, The strength of the bearers of burdens is decayed, and there is much rubbish, so that we are not able to build the wall. And our adversaries said, They shall not know, neither see, till we come in the midst among them, and slay them, and cause the work to cease. And it came to pass that when the Jews which dwelt by them came, they said unto us 10 times, From all places whence ye shall return unto us, they will be upon you. So the problem is the Jews are realizing, hey, our enemies are massing against us. We can't fight them off and build the wall at the same time. This is going to be a hard challenge. Building the wall is hard enough, but trying to fight and defend while building it's going to be even harder to do. Verse 13, Therefore I set in the lower places behind the wall, and on the higher places I even set the people after their families with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and arose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, Be not ye afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters, your wives and your houses. And it's fascinating, because this is not that far different than the title of liberty that Captain Moroni does in the Book of Mormon, where he says we need to defend our lands, defend our people, defend our families, and we need to step up to fight. And so that's what Nehemiah is doing here, is rallying them together to not just fight, but pray to God to help them with this situation. Verse 15, And it came to pass when our enemies heard that it was known unto us, and God had brought their counsel to naught, that we returned all of us to the wall, everyone unto his work. So once they realized they can't fight, the Jews are ready to fight. They're prepared. They're ready to go. So, well, this isn't going to work out for us to go fight. So it didn't work out. So they returned to the wall to get back to work. Verse 16, it came to pass from that time forth that the half of my servants wrought in the work. The other half of them held both the spears, the shields, and the bows, and the habergeons, the rulers, were behind all the house of Judah. So this is the habergeons, as they say in the footnote here, is probably armor of tough leather. So half the people were building the walls and getting ready. The other half were defending those who were building the walls. Verse 17, which they builded on the wall, and they that bear burdens with those that laded. Every one with one of his hands wrought in the work, and with the other hand held a weapon. So literally, this is a famous story in here of they had a trowel in one hand as they're building the wall, cementing it back together, and a sword in the other hand to protect themselves and defend themselves from potential enemies that could be coming at them. Verse 18, for the builders, everyone had his sword girded by his side, and so builded, and he that sounded the trumpet was by me. And I said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, the work is great and large, and we are separated upon the wall, one far from another. In what place therefore ye hear the sound of the trumpet, resort ye thither unto us. Our God shall fight for us. So we labored in the work, and half of them held the spears from the rising of the morning till the stars appeared. Likewise at the same time said I unto the people, let every one with his servant lodge within Jerusalem, that in the night they may be a guard to us, and labor on the day. So neither I nor my brethren, nor my servants, nor the men of the guard which followed me, none of us put off our clothes, saving that every one put them off for washing. So they changed clothes or put them off to wash, but otherwise they just left their clothes on because they were building and fighting. They had to be ready to do both at the same time, basically. So a good lesson for us sometimes is we sometimes have to do two things at once. But it's a crazy story, crazy experience. Could you imagine being alive at this time and having to do this type of a situation? What would that be like for you? Maybe you could even put in your, I'd love to see in the comments your thoughts on this. What if you had a major natural disaster? You had to rebuild shelter for yourself and rebuild your community, but also defend your community at the same time. What would that be like for you and your family? So I look forward to reading your comments on that, and we'll see you in the next chapter as we continue the story of Nehemiah.